All right, welcome to Tea and Pancakes, the show that happens every time I've played 5 more games of Root, where I rank all the different things that are rankable, that, you know, at least according to me, when I came up with the lists. So I'm Kyle, this is from Give Pause Hobby, and Root is my all-time favorite game. It's also my most played and most time played game. So it has a commanding lead both in my my attention, on the charts on my BG Stats app, and yeah, it's just a wonderful game. I love exploring all the different factions, all the different ecosystems you can make, and I'm thrilled with the. If you're watching this in the future, this is still pre-Marauders release. That we're still in the Kickstarter of Marauders expansion. So hirelings are a relatively newly announced thing. They are a ways off in terms of actually being published and out, but I have the P&Ps for them, so I'm excited to get them into games with that. But I just love the fact that it's going to make so many more games so much more colorful, and all these interactions will be really interesting. It's just an awesome game. Hence me making the majority of the content on my channel about it. So let's dive right into it, shall we? So first of all, let's get our baseline stats here. It is today. So today is March 12th of 2021. And I have played 30 games of Root in total, and for a grand total of 35 hours and 32 minutes. So I played at 6 different locations with 18 different players, and my player breakdowns or player count. I've played 2-player 3 times. I've played 3-player 18 times. I've played 4-player 9 times, and I've never played 5 or more players. Interestingly, and for some people this might be like a head scratcher, but 6 of those 30 games are games that I was not a part of. And I don't mean I was like the dedicated table nanny, like helping other people play. I mean, I was piloting just bots. So 6 of my 30 games, I was just there to help the robots enact their will on the board. And I'm considering that still games I've played because, as I will tell anyone who asks, the Clockwork expansion, and then after that the Better Bot Project files, are a huge part of how and why I know Root as well as I do. I know that there's differences between the bots and how a meatbag plays the factions, but just like the raw amount of like repetitions I've gotten in with the mechanisms of the game are, I mean, I wouldn't be able to teach the game like I can now if I hadn't played all these games against bots to practice. And that does include just running these bots through this like system with all these rules in place. Not that I don't miss rules in Root, because I think everybody who plays Root does. If someone says that they never miss rules in Root, that person has just lied to you. So also for those new to the channel possibly, this thing on my face is not anything that you'll need to worry about seeing like all the time. I am a member of the Wisconsin National Guard Band, and before my drill weekends, I have my students, because I'm a middle school band director, vote on what to do with my facial hair before it all has to go away. I didn't do that this time. I forgot to get the survey ready to get all the kids to vote, so I just chose something crazy. This mutton chops, as much mustache as I can get, because I have this like anti-Hitler in the middle, like no hair grows there, and then a little soul patch. So it's my wife hates it. In a fun way, like a joking way. And it's not a great look, but fun to wear around one day. Though I do right now have to put it underneath a mask, you know, when I go into gas stations, which does definitely, and like at school, where usually part of the fun is walking around just with this thing on my face and being in front of bands all day with it. And right now I'm underneath 2 masks and a face shield. It's, yeah, but I still know in my heart what's on my face. It won't. Also, for those of you who haven't seen some of the other stuff on this channel, this is my car, my Honda Element. I have a a show that is specifically hosted in this car, Poetic Elements, where I read poetry I've written about board games. This is not specifically going to be in my car all the time, but our home, it was wonderful and we love it, but the walls are like paper thin, and so it's really hard to record anything and not either disturb my napping children or have them disturb the recording. So that's why I do a lot. The Game Garage was born on this channel, was born out of a necessity of finding a place I could go where I wouldn't be disturbing the kids or my wife when she naps, because being a stay-at-home mom with kids is a super tiring, crazy job. But yeah, I just happen to be in the car and I want to, you know, get the first one thrown together. So they won't all be this long probably either. It's just me kind of walking through all the backstory and some of that. So let's dive into it. We're gonna go from like little-y things, like piddly things, up to the big mama. So first up, the actual maps themselves. So I right off the bat have to admit something kind of embarrassing. I've never played on the winter map. I've only played the forest, lake, and the mountain maps. So I need to fix that, especially because I just got the neoprene map, and flip it over, boom. First time on the winter map, it's on the fancy neoprene one. So in third of 3 places, the mountain map. I've only played once. And I really do like it. I'd like the opening up of paths. I think that was really cool. The tower is a neat thing. We'll talk about that. And I have a feeling that one could go up just with more plays, but yeah, third place, mountain. Second place, lake. I really like the lake, and just the layout, how it's kind of like lopsided, and then like this like string around down here with a couple extra, with this like big chunk of land up here. It's a really interesting map. It's also gorgeous. It's, I think, my favorite to look at just in general. And then I played it 3 times on that one. I can't remember if I said. The forest map, 26 times. I am on the channel. I've done a lot of teaching and playthrough videos to teach the bots, and I typically in the strict teaching and demonstration playthroughs, I was only using the forest to remove that as like a variable. So that is the vast majority of my games. I imagine one day the forest will be overtaken as my favorite, but right now it's just like nostalgia for, like, that to me is Root. I think for lots of people probably is too. Okay, so landmarks. So I don't know if the ferry and the tower from the Underworld expansion are, you know, landmarks. I don't think they are. There's like token or pieces. I don't know. I'm just gonna say wooden pieces that aren't warriors, or pawns in the case of a vagabond. So right now it's only out of 2 because I don't have the PNPs for those other landmarks. So in second place, the tower. I've only played 1 game with the tower, and it is it was a lot of fun. It adds another element to the game that isn't there typically. But I've played 3 games with the ferry on the lake map, and I love the flexibility. The tower is a really nice like lit fuse on the timer of the game, kind of just like that tension building. But the ferry is a totally different type of tension that's like built from opportunity. Like, this person could go anywhere, and also, you know, that needing to like shut down, like it's an actual play to like clamp the ferry down somewhere and not use it, even though, you know, using it draws you a card. So I'm a bigger fan of the ferry than the tower for right now, but that's just for right now. Next up will be hirelings, of the ones that I've played, which currently is none of them. So that's the list of all of them, but here is at 30 and it's blank. So yeah, we'll come back to that. From 35 onwards, there should be something in that category. Okay, next up My favorite factions to pilot is my verb that I use for when I'm using a bot, be it Clockwork or Better Bot Project. So obviously have not played the Rats or the Badgers. Those aren't out yet, so they are not in the running. So the other 8 that we have Rivet Folk, 8th place. I've played 3 games with them. They have lost 0 times. They have won 0 times. It's just really, I don't know. I think to be good at River Folk, you need to be like a salesman. And so it's just kind of a little bit clunky, but I have not played with the newer Better Bot Project update, which I did a video explaining the differences, and I'm excited to see how it feels different, because when I played with it before, it just, nothing really ever happened with it. So I'm sure we'll be back on that. 7th, Electric Erie. I played 13 games with them, and they have won 7 of them, which actually I'm surprised it's that low. So this is probably me being a little bit of a sore loser, poor sport, whatever. They're really hard. The first printing of Clockwork, as many people know, had that little glitch where they would target the thing with the least amount of enemy warriors, but it didn't have the caveat of without a roost. So they would, as soon as they like expanded out once, they would just like bong, 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 back and forth sometimes, and just like turmoil themselves to death. Once they fixed that, it is a powerhouse. And it's just, yeah, you need to, from my experience, which it's not total, it's not like they've won 13 out of 13. From my experience, you need to, from the very beginning of the game, have a game plan for handling Electric Erie. Meh. But I haven't played the Director's Cut yet, so who knows, this might be going up. Automated Alliance, haven't played the Director's Cut of this one yet either, which might help, because that takes away, with the regular Automated Alliance, you get no point. Well, no, there's that one trait that means you don't get points for removing sympathy, which is crazy. That came up randomly, and it's just like way too powerful, in my opinion, IMO. And they changed that one for the Director's Cut. And some other things they made, they changed the way sympathy works, especially on bird turns, where it's kind of wild because you have public pity, then spread sympathy, and then your revolt. So that has changed, which I think is good. So that might change too. Oh, sorry. Automated Alliance, I played 7 times. They've won once. So it's not like they're, dominant. Contraption Conspiracy, I've played with twice. They've won once. I just really like the Corvids. It's another one that kind of suffers a little bit from, interaction, kind of just not being the same as if it were a person. Same thing as Rivet Folk. But I do like their presence, currently more than Rivet Folk. The Cogwheel Cult is 4th place. I played with them 3 times. They've won once. I'm just going to come out and say it. I just love this. These are one of my favorite meeples. So anytime I can have the lizards on the board, it's a thumbs up. So again, hirelings. I'm excited for more of these colors to be present, but I think it works pretty well. It's an interesting one to go against. 3rd place, Vagabot. They've been in 7 games. They've only won once. I think it's a kind of a cool system. Again, Director's Cut, I haven't played it yet. I'm excited to try it out. Just to have this like kind of robot Link going around, like doing his thing, adventuring, is just really fun. Okay, Mechanical Marquee 2.0. This one I have played with the Director's Cut, and I think is really good. They have been in 18 games. They have only won once. So, always the bridesmaid, one time the bride. Yeah, it's just, I think it's the most easy to grok. And same goes for when you're looking across the table at a person playing the marquee. You're just like, okay, I see what's going on over there, and I'm formulating an idea of how to counter it. I think that's an important thing One of the reasons I add the bot in is when I'm teaching a new player, it's nice to have a third party that can just be, you know, sometimes it's dominant, sometimes it's not. And when it's not, it's just something that, you know, I can go farm and interact with, and the other player can, if they haven't quite cut their teeth on the whole like antagonistic interaction with other players. So it's as obviously 18 is the most played bot, so it's you know, I just like having it on the board. It's an easy one to implement, and I think that's a big part of it. But didn't win in the victory. Dummy Duchy, a very new addition, the newest to the Better Bot project. They've played 2 games. They have won 0. One of them was because I used them incorrectly, so mea culpa. But they are also really easy to implement, and I think really interesting. Like, the cat sometimes can get a little bit just like grindy. It's easy to do, but sometimes, especially when they, you know, on their bird turns, and if they expand and all that, like, the turns can just be like a little bit of a slog sometimes. The Duchy is just a really interesting engine that you can watch build itself as they sway ministers. And yeah, in 2 games, they rocketed to the top of my list. They're just a lot of fun to play with. So here it is, moment you've all been waiting for. My favorite factions to play. So I've played 9 of the 10. I have not played Badgers yet. Hopefully this weekend. I've played Rats once. So here we go. 9th place, Otters. I played once. I have won 0 times. I'm just gonna call it what it is. This is probably me being another, you know, poor sport. I did a bad job. I did a bad job all game selling things, like kind of getting people involved. It was against 2 people who were relatively new to the game, so I probably, in hindsight, needed to sell my stuff like way more than I should have, or than I was. And then one of the few things I did actually sell was a dominance card to the mole player, and he won with it. So yeah, 9th of 9. Scene change. Learning my black GoPro, when in the phone holder on my dashboard, with the sun coming in, it heats up, and then it shuts down. So I checked. I do have everything up until now, but you know, lesson learned. It really wasn't good lighting anyways. Like, I shouldn't have been in that position where sun was coming in and it was so I apologize for that, and I apologize to my hardworking GoPro that I had to endure that. So let's continue. My 8th of 9 factions, the Birds. I have played them 5 times and I've won twice. This is one that I anticipate rising, because thanks to Lord of the Board, Sam's you know, strategy channels, I am coming to grips with Turmoil not being the absolute end of the world like it feels like it is, and actually something you can plan around and strategize around. And when you do that, you feel like a genius. But it's just it's really challenging. I'm sure for some people it's not, but for me, it just like is a super brain burning faction, and yeah, I'm not usually very up for it. So there it is. 6th, is that right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, 6th of 9. Vagabond. So I have played twice. I've won once with the Vagabond. It's a really fun faction. I think, like many people, I just love how different it is. The fact that you are just one dude running around, you know, going exploring in the ruins, and it's a lot of fun. Haven't gotten to play it very much, but have enjoyed the time that I have. Okay, 5th of 9, the Woodland Alliance. So I've played twice with this. I have won once with this one, and this one, I in the same way that I love the Vagabond being like a single piece just roaming around the map, I love just how different this is compared to everything else, because it starts with nothing on the map. I just think that's the coolest, the most like immediately clarifying thing to someone who's coming to Root for the first time and sees, like, the marquee on every spot and the alliance on none of them, and they're like, did you forget to set up? And you're like, no, I'll be there. Yeah, just a lot of fun. All right, Crows, 5th place, 5th of 9. I've played them once. I have won with them once. So this one is actually, we'll say 5th and 4th. These are really close ones. 4th place, Rats, the Lord of the Hundreds. I've played with it once. I have won with it once. And no, they're not at this spot because of my win record. I really love the way these two factions play. I love the combo, just like bursty nature of the Crows. And I like the psychology games you can play with putting down the plots. I'll be honest, I kind of demolished in this. I got like 15 points in the last turn with the Crows, and that was because none of us, myself included, understood, like fully grasped the like the bursty nature of it, like how quickly you can combo those things if you are left contested. The Rats are just so much fun. It is the best feeling in the world that Stronghold just pump out Rats turn after turn. Based on your prowess, Rats pop up around the Lord or the Warlord, and so you can just constantly press and press and press. I've only played this against robots. I have a feeling it's going to be divisive against people because you are probably going to ruffle some feathers. So, there's that to be taken into account, but it's just a ton of fun. And the whole like moods, that mechanic is a really cool thing to balance and to play with. All right, 3rd, the top 3. The Marquee Cats. I've played with them 4 times. I have won 3 times with them. I really do enjoy just like the straightforward nature of this faction. Just go out there and, build stuff, build your empire, and, make sure that you don't, I love the fact that, and am terrified of the fact that they are the one faction that you can get wiped from the map and you do not have a route back in. And I've seen that. He wasn't wiped from the map, but the first game I ever played of Root, my friend, we broke his back in his production line, and he just, it was like the last 1 or maybe 2 turns in the game, but he just like didn't have any more plays. We were just like, you don't get to play Root anymore. So it's scary, but it's a really fun faction to me. All right, 2nd place, Lizards. This is, again, I love the meeples. I played them twice. I've won both times. It's a fun faction. I love the take that sort of nature of losing guys turns them into acolytes, and then you can turn around and do spells with them. It's a really cool, like the whole concept is really, it's very luck based with the outcast and hated outcast and all that. But I think that's a fun puzzle to solve, like how to make the most of the luck that the outcast suit gives you. And then those of you doing the math at home, Moles, the Underground Duchy. I played 5 games with them and I've won 2. This is the faction that just sort of clicked with me, and I just never looked back. I love the mechanic of swaying ministers, like choosing what order you're going to do that, which ones you're going to go for. I, again, like the balancing act of having to, protect your buildings. Again, Lord of the Board has advertised the concept of a no building build, and I'm intrigued by this because obviously you want to be able to draw more and to make more moles in Birdsong. But if you don't have buildings, you don't have a weakness. So I'm really interested in giving that a shot sometime. But they're just super fun. and I get to use the verb poop a lot because I poop moles out all the times, all over the map. And yeah, they're just at the top. So there it is, my lists. Again, I'm at 30 games right now. So this is, I'm not sure how often this show is going to happen. Well, I guess I do know how often, and it is going to be haphazard. You know, there might be times when I can get games knocked out in quick success. It's not like I'm making it my life's effort to get root games just like clocked in, but it's my favorite game, so I love playing it whenever I have the opportunity. So I'm interested to see where these change as we go on. Thanks for, if you've stuck through it, if you enjoy this, let me know down below how wrong I am on some of these things, what are at the top of your lists, at least right now, and maybe even how many games you've played. Let me know where I'm at. I'm sure there are people who have played way more than me, but it's a delightful game. I think everyone should play it all the time. So with that, we'll see you at 35. Bye, everybody.